So good morning and welcome to the City Planning Commission remote public meeting of April 7th, 2021. Verbal testimony may be provided online through the NYC Engage portal or by calling in on your telephone. If you wish to speak and plan to access the hearing online, please register through the upcoming meetings page of the NYC Engage portal. A link to join the hearing is on the landing page after you register. Please do not close the landing page without first clicking on the link. If you are accessing the hearing via phone and wish to speak, you must first register with the dial-in participant hotline at the numbers listed on the screen. If one of the numbers is busy, please try another. The meeting ID is 618-237-7396. Press pound to skip participation ID. The password is the numeral 1. The phone number is also posted on the upcoming meetings page of the NYC Engage portal. Please note that whether you're accessing this meeting online or by phone, you must register if you want to speak. Those accessing the meeting online will have the option to turn on their camera while giving testimony. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be notified and promoted to a panelist. This will allow you to unmute your microphone and give you the ability to turn on your camera. Please listen closely for your name to be called. There will be a short period where it appears that you are no longer in the meeting. Do not be alarmed. You should rejoin the meeting as a panelist. Please note that promoting speakers takes a little longer, so please be patient. If you're accessing the hearing via phone, your name will be called from the list of registered speakers. Once your name has been called, you'll be given the temporary ability to unmute yourself. You do this by pressing *6 to unmute your phone. For those listening to the hearing through the online live stream who have not yet registered to speak, but decide they wish to do so during the hearing, you must first register to speak through the upcoming meetings page of the NYC Engage portal. It is not possible to testify through the online live stream without first having registered. For those accessing the hearing via phone who have not yet registered to speak but wish to do so, you must first register to speak through the dial-in participant hotline that I described a moment ago. It's not possible to testify via telephone without having first registered. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes of testimony. There are a few exceptions to the 3-minute time limit. Elected officials are accorded the courtesy of jumping to the front of the queue and are not limited to 3 minutes. If consecutive translation services are being used, the time will be extended to 5 minutes. And if an applicant team with 3 or more speakers wishes to make a team presentation, the team will generally be allowed a total of 10 minutes. The chair will announce when the time limit has been reached. Please be mindful of potential background noise during your testimony. Please make sure that if you're watching the proceedings via live stream, that the live stream is muted when you begin your testimony. Otherwise, you will hear an echo. If you wish to submit written testimony, it should be submitted to the Department of City Planning. The mailing and email address can be found on our website, planning.nyc.gov. Lastly, please note that this remote public hearing and all testimony provided is being recorded.
And so at this point, we will turn it over to Madam Secretary to take the roll.
Good morning. This is a City Planning Commission public meeting held remotely through the NYC Engage portal. Today is Wednesday, April 7th, 2021. I will now call the roll. Chair Lago.
Here.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Here.
Commissioner Burney.
Here.
Commissioner Capelli.
Here.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Here.
Commissioner Dweck.
Here.
Commissioner Edie.
Here.
Commissioner Knight.
Here.
Commissioner Levin.
Here.
Commissioner Marin.
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Here.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Here.
A quorum is present. The first item is the approval of the minutes of the public meeting of Wednesday, March 17th, 2021.
On the minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved.
Scheduling, calendar numbers 1 through 5. We have resolutions for adoption. Scheduling Wednesday, April 21st, 2021 for a remote public hearing to be held through the NYC Engage portal.
On the resolutions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolutions are adopted.
The next part of the calendar is the report section on page 7. Reports. Borough of the Bronx, calendar numbers 6 and 7. 431 Concord Avenue rezoning. CD1, calendar number 6. C 200274 ZMX, calendar number 7. N 200275 ZRX, and the matter of applications for zoning map and zoning text amendments concerning 431 Concord Avenue rezoning. Chair Lago. Oh, for
Yes.
favorable reports on calendar number 6 and 7, Chair Lago.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Burney.
Yes.
Commissioner Capelli.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Dweck.
Yes.
Commissioner Edie.
Yes.
Commissioner Knight.
Yes.
Commissioner Levin.
Yes.
Commissioner Marin.
I'm a bit disappointed that the requested drawings were not provided, but at the end of the day, it's a good project, so I'm going to approve and say yes.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers.
I'm
6
sorry. You didn't call my name, but I'm recused on this matter. This is Commissioner Rampershad.
Yes. Recused.
Thank you. Thank you.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 6 and 7. Borough of the Bronx, calendar numbers 8 and 9. Arthur Avenue Hotel rezoning. CD6, calendar number 8. C 210027 ZMX, calendar number 9. N 210028 ZRX, and the matter of applications for zoning map and zoning text amendments concerning Arthur Avenue Hotel rezoning. For favorable reports on calendar numbers 8 and 9, Chair Lago.
Yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes, at certification, I did express some concerns about the scale of the proposed building, but having listened to the testimony of the applicant at the public hearing, as well as the enthusiastic support of the borough president and community board, I defer to their judgment. I vote yes.
Commissioner Capelli, or Commissioner Burney, sorry.
Yes.
Commissioner Capelli.
I'm very excited about the potential of this project, and I enthusiastically vote yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Dweck.
Yes.
Commissioner Edie.
Yes.
Commissioner Knight.
Yes.
Commissioner Levin.
Yeah, my thoughts are aligned with Commissioner Knuckles. I think a lot of us were a bit skeptical about certain aspects of this proposal when it was first certified, and I think we've seen the demonstration of the effectiveness of the public review process. The applicant made a particularly crisp and clear and persuasive presentation, and it was supported by a remarkable array of support from the community. So this is why we do public review. My concerns have all been allayed, and I'm happy to vote yes.
Commissioner Marin.
I concur with the comments made by both the Vice Chairman and Commissioner Levin, and I too vote yes.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Yes.
Commissioner Rampershad.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 8 and 9. Borough of the Bronx, calendar number 10, 97 West 169th Street, CD4, C210195 HAX, in the matter of an application for a UTAP designation, project approval and disposition of city-owned property concerning 97 West 169th Street. For a favorable report on calendar number 10, Chair Lago.
Yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Burney.
Yes.
Commissioner Capelli.
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo.
Yes.
Commissioner Dweck.
Yes.
Commissioner Edie.
Yes.
Commissioner Knight.
Yes.
Commissioner Levin.
Yes.
Commissioner Marin.
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
A favorable report has been adopted on calendar number 10. Borough of Brooklyn, calendar numbers 11 and 12. Acme Smoked Fish, Jim Street rezoning. CD1, calendar number 11. C210138ZMK, calendar number 12. C210139ZSK. And the matter of applications for a zoning map amendment and a special permit concerning Acme Smoked Fish, Jim Street rezoning. For favorable reports on calendar numbers 11 and 12. Chair Lago,
Yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles,
Yes.
Commissioner Burney,
Yes.
Commissioner Capelli,
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo,
Yes.
Commissioner Dweck,
Yes.
Commissioner Edie,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner Levin,
yes,
Commissioner Marin,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendars numbers 11 and 12. Borough of Brooklyn, calendar number 13, 86 Fleet Place, CD2, N210061ZRK, and the matter of an application for a zoning text amendment concerning 86 Fleet Place. For a favorable report on calendar number 13, Chair Lago,
Yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles,
Yes.
Commissioner Burney,
Yes.
Commissioner Capelli,
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo,
Yes.
Commissioner Dweck,
Yes.
Commissioner Edie,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner Levin,
yes,
Commissioner Marin,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
A favorable report has been adopted on calendar number 13. Borough of Brooklyn, calendar number 14, Harriet and Thomas Truesdell House, CD2, N210282HIK, and the matter of a communication concerning the landmark designation of the Harriet and Thomas Truesdell House. On the adoption of calendar number 14 for referral to City Council, Chair Lago,
Just want to note my pleasure in seeing this important remnant of our Black history being preserved. And with that, I vote yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles,
I agree. Yes.
Commissioner Burney,
Yes.
Commissioner Capelli,
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo,
Yes.
Commissioner Dweck,
Yes.
Commissioner Edie,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner Levin,
yes,
Commissioner Marin,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramprashad.
Yes.
Calendar number 14 has been adopted. Borough of Queens, calendar numbers 15 and 16, 6819 Woodhaven Boulevard rezoning. CD6, calendar number 15, C200272ZMQ, calendar number 16, N200273ZRQ, and the matter of applications for a zoning map and zoning text amendments concerning 6819 Woodhaven Boulevard rezoning. For favorable reports on calendars numbers 15 and 16, Chair Lago,
Before voting, I'll just note that Commissioner Ramprashad is recused, and I vote yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles,
Yes.
Commissioner Burney,
Yes.
Commissioner Capelli,
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo,
Yes.
Commissioner Dweck,
Yes.
Commissioner Edie,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner Levin,
yes,
Commissioner Marin,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Yes.
Favorable reports have been adopted on calendar numbers 15 and 16.
Madam Secretary, just a moment. I just want to confirm with the chair that we want to vote on these following items.
Yes, on 17 and 18, please, if you could proceed with them.
So let's call the roll and vote on these. Thanks.
Okay. Borough of Staten Island, calendars numbers 17 and 18. CDs 2 and 3, number 17, N200267 ZCR concerning 569 Toad Hill Road. Number 18, N210182 RCR concerning 957 Ionia Avenue. And the matter of applications for the grant of certifications for adoption on calendars numbers 17 and 18. Chair Lago,
Yes.
Vice Chair Knuckles,
Yes.
Commissioner Burney,
Yes.
Commissioner Capelli,
Yes.
Commissioner Cerullo,
Yes.
Commissioner Dweck,
Yes.
Commissioner Edie,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner Levin,
Yes.
Commissioner Marin,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Rompershad.
Yes.
Calendar numbers 17 and 18 have been adopted. The next part of the calendar is the remote public hearing section on page 23. Borough of the Bronx. Calendar numbers 19, 20, and 21. Melrose Open Door. CDs 1 and 3. Calendar number 19, C210154 HAX. Calendar number 20, C210155 HUX. Calendar number 21, C210156 HAX. Public hearing in the matter of applications for a UDAP designation, project approval, disposition of city-owned property, and amendment to the urban renewal plan concerning Melrose Open Door.
We will have a 10-minute team presentation by a team comprised of Matthew Feiss, Janine Golub, Alice Friedman, Ismini Spiliotis, Kay Real, Celeste Hornback, and Ted Weinstein.
Whenever you guys are ready.
Okay, great. My name is Kay Real, representing HPD. The Melrose Open Door project is a new scattered site development proposal spanning Bronx districts 1, 2, and 3. The project's been split into 2 ULURP applications based on community board boundaries. The project as a whole is made up of 12 sites, totaling approximately 70 cooperative units. This project was the winning proposals from a request for qualification in 2014 that invited applicants to submit proposals to develop clusters of small scattered infill sites that would otherwise be too small and difficult to develop on their own. So the ULURP actions are the designation of the sites as an urban development action area, disposition of city-owned land, as well as an amendment to the Mott Haven North Urban Renewal Plan to exempt 2 of the sites included in the cluster from the restrictive parking and FAR requirements. After years of only being able to develop low-income housing in this district, we're very excited to be able to expand homeownership opportunities and provide opportunities for residents with moderate incomes. So I'll now turn it over to the development team to answer more details about the project. And we also have Alice Friedman from HPD to answer questions on our Open Door program.
Thank you, Kay. Hello, commissioners, and thank you for your time this morning. My name is Matthew Feiss. ESKW has a long legacy of working with non-for-profit developers whose main focus is providing affordable, supportive, and low-income housing in New York City. Next slide. The aerial map that you're looking at basically shows our open door cluster. As Kay pointed out, the project consists of 12 scattered sites which spread across the community boards 1, 2, and 3. A majority of these sites are interior lots. Of the 12 sites, 2 are outliers and are corner sites. Next slide, please. The existing site photos of the Melrose Bronx. When looking at the Melrose Bronx district and the existing sites, all but one of the sites are vacant lots. These current images are typical conditions seen throughout this project. We see historical context in buildings such as old tenement walk-ups with brick facades with varying tan, red, and gray brick, and various neighboring residential buildings ranging from 2 to 6 stories. Next slide, please. We are currently proposing 11 multifamily buildings, which are 4-story or 4-story with a mezz and cellars, and 1 single-family residential building, which is 3 stories and a cellar. All the buildings are masonry CMU construction with cold rolled steel joists, and all buildings will be fireproofed and sprinklered. Next slide, please. There is a focus on the context. We're providing brick facades with recessed brick panels on the upper elevations with aluminum windows with AC window units on the upper portion. The ground floor is made of precast panel, which wraps the building at exposed facades. And we are proposing a faux wood composite panel with planters. Next slide, please. The secondary and rear facades are made of hardy plank. Next slide, please. The amenities in the building range from energy efficient building systems with compliance with ADA and UFIS regulations with adaptability on all the first floors. We have everyday conveniences such as built-in trash enclosures, adequate building storage, and bicycle storage on site as well. I'll now turn the presentation over to Manny Management to talk about the ownership structure.
Thank you, Matt. Next slide, please. Good morning, commissioners. I want to, on behalf of Manny Management, I want to thank you for having us here today. So what Manny Management is proposing in partnership with HPD is to create and generate 70 cooperative homeownership units. So rather than have a single family with rentals, we've actually chosen to create every single one of the units as homeownership. In an effort, you'll see in the next slide, we've struggled very much within the Open Door program to get to homeownership affordabilities that, again, aren't at the exact median income of the community, but really are pushing the homeownership prices down as far as we could at the moment, and then really creating a range of homeownership opportunities, both by unit size and family income. What we are proposing, in addition to getting to as deep affordability as possible on day one, we are anticipating promoting and perpetuating affordability by placing the buildings into a cooperative on a community land trust. So there's a lot of conversation about this, and we committed to each of the community boards and the elected officials that kind of training both on homeownership to make sure as many neighborhood applicants as possible, residents would be eligible, and both understanding the home ownership options and availing themselves of them, and also understanding the community land trust and what its benefits are. As you can see on this slide, we have a range of apartment types. We have a range of sale prices within each apartment type, and we indicate the income ranges required. I wanted to just give you a little bit more information, just because you can't tell from this slide how many homes are available in each of the income brackets. So we have 10 homes under 70% of area median income, 25 homes under 90% of area median income, and 35 homes under 110% of area median income. This allows us to avail ourselves of the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation grant program, and for almost 2/3 of the units avail ourselves of the HPD down payment assistance program. So we are available to answer questions regarding the program.
And is that the end of the team presentation?
Yes.
Thanks so much. And I will now turn it over to the commission for questioning, starting with Vice Chair Knuckles.
Thank you. I wanted to ask Ms. Speliotis, I see that there is a tax abatement for the properties. How long does that exist, that tax abatement?
Yes, I think we're going for an Article 11 tax abatement, Chairperson, and I think that it's for 40 years. Kay, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And then Chairman Knuckles, I just want to say, with the land trust, we've been in a lot of communication. So the land trust has, as folks know, with cooperatives, often have a 99-year proprietary lease and to get to perpetuity. What we've been in discussions with HPD is how to re-up the Article 11 exemption in a timely fashion so that that adds to the perpetuation of affordability in the future.
So the community, with the community land trust structure, the land remains in the ownership of the city. Is that correct?
No, there actually is, Community Land Trust is actually a separate entity, nonprofit organization that has a tri-party structure that's made up of residents of the land trust. So buildings on the land trust elect residents that are in those buildings. That's one of the legs of the stool. One is community membership, and that's either organizational but at large, okay. And then the third is institutional membership, which is right now we're proposing to put it on the Interborough Land Trust, which is co-founded by Manny, Center for New York City Neighborhoods, Habitat for Humanity, and Urban Homesteading Assistance Board. But it's a separate nonprofit, and so the land does get transferred from the city to Manny. We develop the properties, and then at conversion, when the buildings go co-op, then we will also add the land trust to it. So while we're educating people and preparing them for home ownership, we're also preparing them to understand that it's home ownership on a land trust.
Got it. Thank you.
Commissioner Capelli.
Yes. How long is the lease, the underlying lease, going to be granted for?
On the Community Land Trust or for the shareholders?
For when somebody purchases a co-op, how many years will they know that the underlying lease is going to be good for?
A minimum of 99 years. The proprietary lease is usually 99 years.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Berney.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Ismina, I was also interested in the CLT. So is this a unique arrangement, or has this been done before by Manny or other people?
So the Community Land Trust concept is ancient.
Right.
It's been around for a very long time. And as I think every commissioner on this panel knows, has kind of picked up some speed and traction over the last, time, especially because kind of the whole lack of affordability in our city. And so this is an effort to kind of get to affordability on day one and then perpetuate affordability. What happens is, in the past, a lot of the affordable programs, even home ownership programs, the affordability burns off and is good for the first owner and then kind of burns off later. I would say that the city recently has adopted community land trusts. You can do it for rentals or home ownership, but in New York City, home ownership on a land trust is actually a rather new concept. So we're building it as we go, but we're pretty excited. We've been in conversations with the city since we actually submitted our application for the Open Door NIHOP program in 2015.
Right. Okay. Thank you, and thank you for keeping attentive despite all the commotion in your background.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm at a construction site. I'm going to try, and they're going to start a meeting. I'm going to go find a quiet spot. I'm so sorry. Okay. Thanks. Okay. They're going to be quiet for me.
Construction site and to see the economic activity in our. It's exciting to see a construction site and the economic activity in our city. Commissioner Lemon.
Thank you.
But yes, Commissioner Berney sort of asked my core question, but I would love to hear a little bit more about this structure. It sounds hellaciously complicated, but very exciting because it's the kind of thing that we've known that we need to figure out in order to maintain this affordable resource after the effort that goes into creating them. I guess I have a couple of questions. One is the individual homeowner, they're buying shares in a corporation, a cooperative that owns in their individual building, right? So there's a series of co-ops that will go into this, or is it one co-op for all the buildings?
Yeah, so right now, Commissioner, we're actually proposing one co-op, and actually one reason for that is affordability. You know, there's costs, as you can imagine, with incorporation. And
Mhm.
so kind of sharing that, they're not, again, you saw the map, they're not near each other, but they're not far.
Right,
So we'll have some work to do to keep them together, but that's what we're gonna do.
Okay. So tell us about how the resale restrictions work from the perspective of the individual homeowner. And also what happens in the case of a foreclosure.
Yes.
Should
So
that happen? And then what happens to that unit afterwards?
great. So what the experience of the homeowner, okay, is that they will enter into a ground, so the building will enter, so each building will enter into a ground lease with the community land trust, okay? So the co-op will have a land trust, and there'll be a ground lease that dictates the relationship. And then there's a covenant that goes that the homeowners are aware of, so they understand what all of the rules are. And the main rules, as you could imagine, are kind of purchase price and sales price and equity, right? So again, what we've really struggled as we've negotiated the land trust is a balance between affordability and equity building, okay? And so what we've come to is try to keep up basically so the good news is you're removing it from the speculative marketplace. Okay, but then you have to provide something, okay? And so you're trying to create a formula that creates an equity return, but still for some future owner, still has it in the realm of affordability. So we came up with, so that's why we struggle with the purchase price numbers on the high end, because whatever you start at, that's your base. And then, so you can imagine that that's gonna be the base in perpetuity, but wherever you start is where you will be every resale time, because your prices are going up about 3% a year, and your equity is about a 3% return per year. And so, and we can send you in writing kind of what that looks like for a typical home, you know, from one of the homes in the price range, just so you could see if somebody stayed an owner for 20 years, you know, kind of what their return on equity would be if they were to sell it, what the price of that house would be in 20 years. So we can kind of, we have the charts, and we can kind of show you what that looks like. Is that pretty clear?
Yes, so far so
Okay,
good.
good.
Great.
So on foreclosure, what we've also done, one of the actually contributions, so there is an added cost. So I know a lot of people go out there and say, oh, you can do it cheaper on a community land trust. I have never said that, and unfortunately, that's not true. So, you know, the development costs are the development costs. They're going to be what they are, okay? And that's what's reflected in the housing prices in the city subsidy ask. What happens is that there is a fee that's paid to the community land trust. That's partly to make sure we exist, okay? So we're there to perpetuate our, you know, the concept and protect the homes and the owners and the land trust. And the second is to create a reserve. And that reserve is actually there specifically in case there is a homeowner that runs into trouble, and the community land trust actually in the documents has the right to step in and purchase the property. Just like, so step one is that the co-op would kind of really try to right the ship, okay? And then at the end of the day, the land trust is the backstop, and they would come in case the co-op couldn't do it, to protect the entire family of property and on the land trust. And so that's actually built in, and everyone understands that there's protections. Because again, what you don't want is a co-op, as you know, a failed co-op means the whole co-op fails. Okay, if one co-op goes into foreclosure, it puts the whole co-op at risk. We've seen this through third-party transfer and et cetera. So we really have thought about this and are working to make sure that there's a backstop to protect that.
Excellent. Okay. Oh, I realized I have one question on the resale restriction. So is it the co-op, when a homeowner wants to sell, what happens?
They'll notify the co-op, but then the CLT has the obligation to make sure that the covenants are met in terms of sale price, you know, and resale value. So they will notify the co-op. It'll be a regular sale, but the CLT again is checking, right? So there's like a monitoring. There's really kind of a monitoring and support. The CLT plays two roles. One is to support the homeowners to make sure they don't get into trouble. The co-op doesn't get into trouble. There's also a monitor as per HPD regulatory agreement, as you know, with HDFC co-ops. there's the backstop if needed.
Okay. And how are new buyers selected?
So the initial buyers are actually selected through HPD's marketing plan. Okay, so and there is a 50% neighborhood preference, which is why the affordabilities are so important. As you could imagine, we're in community boards in the Bronx 1, 2, and 3. Okay, not a lot of money. So we tried really hard to get to a number that it clearly doesn't get to the rentals, but you know, that's the rentals are the rentals, but we really, really worked with HPD to push those down. So 50% community preference through HPD's lottery.
Okay, and then when homeowner number one is moving on and wants to sell, how is that buyer selected?
Yeah, so currently with HPD's Housing Connect 2.0, you are tied into that lottery process forever, okay? Prior, it used to be that once that happened, then the co-op, whether it's a rental, then the owner would have their wait list, right? Or in a homeownership, you could market and have a wait list for homeownership. Right now, my understanding is that with 2.0, you go back to the citywide, you know, so and fill it. But again, I think that's kind of a ways out. So I'm not sure. So either one of those two ways, either, you know, and again, later the co-op board will have some say, okay, in the you know, in the initial ones, you're filling it as you go. Okay, so there's not like a co-op board that rejects or approves the buyers, okay, but then later there is a role for the board members of the co-op to have some control.
Okay, so I guess one last question. I see there are other hands up here. What sort of homeownership preparedness work is Manny or the soon-to-be co-op or the CLT going to be involved in to be sure that, particularly from the perspective of the local preference, you are developing a pipeline of good folks to perpetuate this structure?
So Manny itself is a HUD-approved counseling organization, and we run seminars several times a month, citywide in Brooklyn and in the Bronx, you know, in person now, right now via Zoom. But just like we do with our rental properties, we are gearing up for a major infusion of homeownership counseling and education, preparing people for savings, credit, and income, you know, to understand how they could actually be eligible for these homes when they show up on Housing Connect several years from now. And so that's number one. Number two, working with the Interborough CLT, who just hired their first director, we will actually be doing a major campaign on the community land trusts. There's other land trusts kind of percolating in the Bronx. And so kind of together as an industry of land trusts with HPD, really start to educate. There's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of concern, this balance, affordability versus equity, you know, and then just really the mysteries. I call it demystifying the homeownership process. So we will be diving wholeheartedly into education as soon as construction starts.
Okay, well, thank you for all of that. We're lucky to have you as one of the first applicants under this structure to give us a little tutorial, and it's very exciting progress.
Thank you
very much.
I want to echo the thanks. It is so helpful to get this deeper understanding of a complex program. Commissioner Eby.
Good morning. When you mentioned that if a homeowner were to get in trouble, that the CLT serves as a backstop, exactly what mechanism is executed? I mean, do they step in, take out the lender? Do they make mortgage payments? How do they step in? How do they serve as a backstop?
Unfortunately, all of those things, yes. So it would be a typical, I mean, a foreclosure is a foreclosure, and this is a business. So so step number one is with the monitoring, with the co-op, with the monitoring, with the CLT, with HUD counseling, we're really, again, we, you know, hoping that these situations are kind of conceptual only and never fall into practice. So you could imagine that we would do everything we can. And Manny with Center for New York City Neighborhoods does a lot of work on foreclosure prevention. So we would do everything we can to make sure that that never happens. But let's say if inevitably, you know, something happens and that's where it ends up. The co-op would have the opportunity, but they probably would not have the funds, given the affordability, to actually go in and step into the shoes of that mortgage, of that shareholder, to purchase the mortgages. And that's when the CLT would come in and actually step into the shoes of the shareholder and take and then be able to control that, prepare it, and then put it back out on the market for another sale.
Any other questions from the
Thank you.
commission? Well, I will then thank the applicant team for a very, very useful presentation, not just of the particular project, but of the program. This explanation is going to benefit us, I'm sure, on a public hearing that we're having on another HPD project later today.
Well, thank
I
you.
don't see any other speakers signed up. Ryan, I would ask if you could just check whether anyone has signed up during the presentation.
No further speakers on this item.
Okay, then this public hearing is closed.
Borough of the Bronx, calendar number 22, Crab Shanty Restaurant, 361 City Island Avenue rezoning, CD10, C210149ZMX. Public hearing in the matter of an application for a zoning map amendment concerning Crab Shanty Restaurant, 361 City Island Avenue rezoning.
Our first speaker will be Frank St. Jacques.
Hi, good morning. My name is Frank St. Jacques. I'm an associate with Ackerman LLP. We're land use counsel for the 361 City Island Avenue rezoning, and I'm joined by Michelle Debatetto, the owner of the Crab Shanty Restaurant, who will be available for questions after this brief presentation. Next slide, please. We're here to present an application for a zoning map amendment to establish a C12 commercial overlay within an existing R3A zoning district on the northwest corner of the intersection of City Island Avenue and Tier Street in the City Island neighborhood of the Bronx within Community District 10. The proposed zoning map amendment will bring historically non-conforming commercial uses, including both the Crab Shanty restaurant located at 361 City Island Avenue and the adjacent commercial parking lot, into conformance with the use provisions of the zoning resolution. Next slide, please. The site is shown here on an aerial view of City Island and on the zoning map. It's located on City Island Avenue at Tier Street within a R3A zoning district that was mapped in 2003 along with amendments to the Special City Island District. Next slide, please. As you can see on this land use map, mixed use and commercial buildings are located along City Island Avenue, and where commercial uses are located, where commercial uses are located both in commercial overlay and on parts of City Island Avenue like here that do not have overlays. There's a concentration of commercial uses along City Island Avenue in the village core area of City Island between Bay Street and Carroll Street, where there are C12 overlays. Bay Street is a block south of Tier Street. And I'll just note that this map and some of the others have a gray tint to them to reflect that the Special City Island District is mapped over the entire island. Next slide, please. This tax map shows the tax lots affected by the proposed rezoning. Lot 137 is improved with the one-story Crab Shanty restaurant established in 1977, and the remaining lots are improved with a surface parking lot. Next slide, please. This aerial view shows that the proposed rezoning area is bounded by City Island Avenue to the east and Tier Street to the south. City Island Avenue, as I mentioned, is the main commercial corridor through City Island. Next slide, please. 361 City Island Avenue was initially occupied by a silent movie theater, then by a post office, as seen here on the left-hand side of the screen. And the Crab Shanty restaurant, established in 1977, has occupied this building since that time. And the parking lot has been in operation since at least the 1970s. Next slide, please. I'm just going to go ahead and skip this one. Next slide, please, sorry. And then the proposed C12 commercial overlay would reinforce existing land use patterns along this portion of City Island Avenue, where commercial uses have been located for decades. And the Crab Shanty restaurant, which has served the community for over 40 years, contributes to the unique character of City Island. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. And if I could ask that the commission direct questions only at Mr. St. Jacques now, and then separately, we will call on Ms. DiBitetto. Questions from the commission? Well, then I'll thank you, Mr. St. Jacques, for the presentation and ask commissioners if they have questions for Ms. DiBitetto from the Crab Shanty Restaurant.
Thank you, Chair Lago and Commissioners.
Not seeing any. Ryan, I will ask if others have signed up to speak on this matter.
No further speakers on this item.
Okay, thank you. Then the public hearing on this matter is closed.
Borough Brooklyn, calendar number 23, West 16th Street special permit, CD 13, C200298 ZSK, public hearing in the matter of an application for the grant of a special permit concerning West 16th Street.
We will have a 10-minute team presentation by a team comprised of Diana Reina, Felipe Cortes, Ben
Madam Chair,
Stavo.
that is the next hearing.
Oh, I am very sorry. I just realized that. We will have a 10-minute team presentation, but the team will be Eric Palatnik, Andrew Valari, and Roger Marachi.
Hello, Madam Chair and members of the commission. My name is Eric Palatnik. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. I want to thank you very much for your enthusiasm for what you're doing for New York City, by the way, as well as to thank your staff. They continue to do, as do the community boards and you, a phenomenal job inspiring the city to carry on as we get into the new season. So thank you. Hopefully we will not take up all 10 minutes of your time. We have a very straightforward application. Next slide, please. The application is pursuant to section 106-32A of the zoning resolution for a special permit to allow a use group 16D warehouse, believe it or not, to be located in, of all places, an M12 zoning district. As fate would have it, we are in the M12 Special Coney Island Mixed Use District. That this Coney Island Mixed Use District component of the overlay necessitates a special action by your commission in order to allow what would normally be an as-of-right warehouse use within an M12 district. This action, next slide, please, will facilitate a two-story warehouse. Next slide, please, till you get to the photo. I'll get to an aerial. There you go. One more slide, please. Okay, you can see the slide depicted here. You may know the area very well. If we were to zoom out a little bit, you would see the Belt Parkway in the top right section of the screen. There's a Raymore and Flanagan's at the top right. There's a Starbucks right in that parking lot, and there's an AutoZone there next to us. The site is an approximately 5,000 square foot site. We are hoping to construct a two-story warehouse that will contain approximately 10,000 square feet and will be about 28 feet tall. It is the location of the property within the Special Coney Island Mixed Use District on West 16th Street that is causing the reason for the special permit. So we're asking you to allow for the warehouse use. If you could move to the next slide, please. This just shows you the location of the property within the Special Coney Island Mixed Use District. If you can now go all the way ahead to the site photos, please. There you go. Here's the site in all of its glory. And I say that because the block is a juxtaposition of awkward uses due to the Special Coney Island Mixed Use District, which has the impact of preventing development. So right now you can see it's a vacant lot. Nothing is on it. And in order to build a productive commercial use, we have to come to you. So we've secured the consent and support of the community board, as well as from the councilman. And we're proud to say there'll be a lot of union activity there. Local 731, which are loaders, local 282, which are drivers, and local 15, who are engineers, will all be working out of the property. And the property will basically be developed. If you can go now to one of the last slides, please, that shows an elevation of the building. And I'll be done with my presentation. Keep going, please, till you get to a rendered elevation. A few more slides, it should be. There you go. This is what we're asking you to build. It will allow DJ Carp and Bedford Carp Realty to have their company there, or an outpost for it. And what they do are sewer and roadway improvements under contract with the city and state of New York. So they're the people you see on the side of the roads that are doing all the repairs, the guardrails and overpasses and things like that. This building is going to be used as an outpost. So they can keep some supplies there. And as they move around the city in different neighborhoods, they have different buildings that they utilize to keep supplies as they do their day-to-day work in different neighborhoods. This is proposed to be one of those buildings. As I said, the community board supports it. The borough president supported it. And we've had extensive conversations with Councilman Traeger, and I believe he has decided to support it, unless you've heard otherwise. I thank you very much. That concludes our presentation.
Mr. Palatnik, I would remind you of what you know, that the privilege of a team presentation is only afforded when there are a minimum of 3 people taking advantage of the time. It is not a mechanism to allow one person to speak for more than 3 minutes. And so I would ask that you abide by that going forward.
Oh, yes, I didn't realize I went past the 3 minutes. I apologize. That was not the intent, Madam Chair. I apologize. I was waiting for the gentleman to speak. I apologize.
It is incumbent upon make sure that team presentation that at least 3 people speak. With that, I'll turn it over to questions from the commission. I do not see any, and so I will thank the team or Mr. Palatnik for his presentation and ask Ryan if anyone else has signed up to speak on this matter.
There are no further speakers on this item.
Okay, so the public hearing on this matter is closed. And now we, well, if the secretary could call the next item.
Borough of Brooklyn, calendar number 24, Bed-Stuy Central and North NIHOP cluster, CD3, C210173 HAK. Public hearing in the matter of an application for a UDAP designation, project approval, and disposition of city-owned property concerning Bed-Stuy Central and North NIHOP cluster.
Okay, and this time we truly will have a 10-minute team presentation by a team comprised of Diana Reina, Felipe Cortes, Ben Shabo, Michael Shabolian, James Shipp, Ryan Moroz, Lynn Zhang, and Olga Jobe.
Madam Chair, I'm recused on this matter.
Thanks so much, Commissioner Ramprasad.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am Felipe Cortes, a borough planner at the New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development. The Bed-Stuy Central and North Phase 2 project is a homeownership project that will result in 4 new buildings with approximately 45 affordable co-op units in Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood. I am joined here by other representatives from HPD and the development team who will introduce themselves in the presentation or when they answer questions as needed. Next slide, please. HPD is seeking UDAP designation and project approval and the disposition of the city-owned properties displayed on the screen. Approval of the proposed actions will facilitate the development of the proposed development, which was selected through HPD's NIHOP NCP RFQ process on July 2017. The proposed development will be developed under HPD's Open Door program for affordable homeownership. Next slide, please. The project sites are located on the northern and southern portions of Brooklyn Community District 3. The surrounding areas are mostly residential, with 1 and 2 family as well as multi-family residential buildings ranging from 2 to 4 stories. Malcolm X Boulevard and Fulton Street are retail corridors near Development Site 1, and as are Myrtle and Nostrand Avenues located near Development Sites 2, 3, and 4. The development sites are well served by public transportation. All sites are located within a 1/4 mile of a subway station. HPD is excited about this project as it provides a unique opportunity to develop a long-standing vacant and underutilized city-owned lots with much needed affordable homeownership units in a neighborhood where affordable homeownership opportunities are rare. At this time, I turn the presentation to Olga Job, representing the development team. She will provide details of the proposed development.
Next slide, please. So this is development site 1, which is located at 187 Chauncey Street. The building is set back from the street to provide additional space for the cooperators to have outdoor space. It also provides a buffer to the ground floor unit. As you can see from the architectural details, that it is comprised of brick with a cornice that is reminiscent of the existing architecture within the community. This is a 4-story building with 7 units. Each unit will have a washer and dryer. And if you could move to the next slide. On this slide on the left, you can see the site plan, which highlights an extensive outdoor recreation area that will also be made available to all of the residents. This building consists of 2 bedrooms and one bedroom. Next slide, please. This is 772 Myrtle. It has a sister building across the street, which is 890 Myrtle. It's a 6-story building with 10 units. There's a shared laundry facility in the basement and storage for the units. This building, like its sister across the street, 890 Myrtle, will feature commercial space. And as the development team, we're looking into renting that space to a tenant that will complement the neighborhood, something that would be a benefit to the residents of the building as well as the outlying community. Next slide, please. This just gives you an overview of the commercial space that will be rented. Next slide, please. Here is the sister building, as I mentioned, which is 890 Myrtle. It lies across the street from the previous building, 777 Myrtle. In that regard, it is exactly the same shared laundry facility in the cellar, 10 units above, a rooftop terrace for tenants, and a retail space on the ground floor that will be rented to a business that would complement the residents and the outlying community. Next slide, please. The largest of the sites is 119 to 125 Vernon. It's a 5-story building with 18 units comprised of a mix of 1 and 2 bedrooms. This building has a shared laundry facility and a fitness and recreation center. And I should mention that this building, as well as the others, are comprised of block and plank construction with a brick facade and cornices at the top to reflect the cornices in the existing brownstones that are within the community. This building, like Chauncey, is also set back from the street to provide additional outdoor space and recreation space for the cooperators, as well as to provide a buffer for the units that will be owning units on the ground floor. Next slide, please. This building has the advantage of having ample outdoor space and recreation area that essentially are carved out into 2 spaces. One that is partially paved that will have seating, and another that is landscaped, which provides a variety of resources for the unit owners to enjoy and children to play when they're in the outdoor space. Next slide, please. This is a ground floor plan, which details a little of the 1 and 2 bedroom units that will be sold within the building. They all comply with HPD design guidelines. They are approximately 50 square feet to 100 square feet larger than the HPD typical rental unit. And they will be designed according to enterprise green communities, meaning they will have energy efficient appliances, low VOC paints, low flow fixtures, and other amenities that will reduce the utility expenses for the unit owners and therein deepen their affordability. Next slide, please. The income and AMI range that we're currently looking at are based on the 2020 AMIs. And there are essentially two tranches here, 90 to 110% of AMI and 111 to 130. We've looked into some research at the demographics of the area, and roughly 1/3 of the community earned between 90 to 110% of AMI. So we believe that we would be able to capture a large swath of the community, which will have a 50% preference to purchase the units. Next slide, please. I'm going to turn this over to James Ship from Neighborhood Restorer, who will discuss how the units will be marketed.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Again, I'm James Ship from Restored Homes, HDFC. I am representing the organization that will be doing the marketing for this project. We will be marketing these units through Housing Connect, the HPD resource, and the project will be subject to HPD marketing guidelines. Restored Homes HDFC will be managing and administering the marketing process and the lottery process. So we will handle the lottery and the marketing with potential home buyers. In addition, we're working with the development team to have Brooklyn Neighborhood Services provide homeowner education pertaining to financial planning for potential home buyers. And then once home buyers are identified and they're moving forward in the closing process, Restored Homes will provide homeowners with details on the operation and maintenance of their various housing systems, including hot water, heat, and appliances, as well as providing them information about homeowner maintenance responsibilities. This will be done with manuals in addition to an in-person walkthrough of each of their homes prior to closing. In addition, Restored Homes will coordinate the manufacturer and warranty coverage that each of the homeowners will receive as being part of this program. Again, that will be discussed with them in person, and also they will have a manual outlining that process. And finally, this project overall is committed to providing technical training on the home buyers on how to form and run a co-op or condo. And we are going to provide that to the homeowners at some point in the process as well. So let me turn over this presentation back to Olga Job. She can wrap up with the last couple of slides. Thank you.
Next slide, please. So as stated earlier, this is, sorry.
Thank you. The commissioners can follow up with any questions. Thank you for the presentation. And so now I look to see whether there are questions from commissioners. Commissioner Capelli.
Yes. You said that there was going to be training for how to form a co-op or a condo. Are there going to be combinations of these?
No. This is going to be a co-op project, not a condo project.
Okay, so they'll get information. So it was just a generic slide.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Well, I wanted to ask Ms. Job if she wanted to complete her thought or thoughts regarding the presentation.
I'd just like to say that the project will be 100% affordable. Ben Chevolian and Michael Chevolian have been developing within this community for more than 20 years. We're excited about this project, and we believe that we would be creating 45 units of much needed housing within Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Thank you,
Vice Chair Knuckles.
Commissioner Burney.
Thank you. I don't know if this is a question for Felipe or Olga, but I was curious as to the thinking about co-op versus condo, and how is that decision made, and is it to do with income? What is the thinking?
I can answer the question, Felipe. One of the things that we're looking to do is to prolong the affordability for as long as possible. And the best way to do that is through an Article 11 in a co-op structure. With a condo structure, the project is only affordable for 25 years. With an Article 11 structure and an underlying HDFC co-op, The project is affordable for 40 years with the opportunity to renew the Article 11 and extend the affordability for an additional 40 years.
Okay, okay. So it's transparent to income level then. That's not what's driving it. It's really a question of to what extent can you increase the permanence of the affordability?
Correct. We'd like these units to be affordable to more than just one homeowner.
Okay. And Olga, I love your wallpaper.
Thank you.
Commissioner Levin.
Yeah, I like the wallpaper too, but will this be a single co-op for all 4 buildings or 4 separate co-ops?
So that is yet to be determined, but I believe it will be. What we planned this far is that there will be 4 separate co-ops. The only 2 that are in close enough proximity to each other to make a single co-op make sense would be the 2 on Vernon. But because each has commercial property, it probably just makes sense to have 4 separate ones.
Although I don't know if you were watching when we had the hearing at the beginning of today's meeting about the project in the Bronx, roughly twice the size of this one, but and many more buildings. But one of the things that Ismini Spiliottis mentioned to us is the complexities of running a co-op and the inefficiencies of doing it for very small buildings. And I wonder if you would think about, and that physical proximity is not so important as sort of commitment to the affordable home ownership model that is embedded in the co-op. I think it's really hard to train up a co-op membership and get them committed, to remain committed over the long term to balancing the sort of twin goals of this kind of approach, which is to encourage home ownership and allow people to see some equity develop for themselves, but also maintaining affordable units for over the longer term, as you indicated you were committed to trying to figure out how to do. And you may discover that a single co-op form is easier to, more effective to administer for that purpose. So I don't know if that's a question or just an observation on my part. You don't really have to respond. At the review session, I did have a question about a couple of the sites that look like they have lot line windows on neighboring buildings. Is that the case? And what's the status of those lot line windows, and what communication have you had with the neighbors about what's likely to happen to them?
This is Ben Shavolian, Shelter Rock Builders. Thank you all the commissioners for taking the time for our presentation. So Commissioner Levin, the lot line windows are existing at 772 Myrtle. And as per DOB, they are not legal windows. We will be in touch with the owner of the building as well as the tenants to make sure that we're going to work closely with them. We will be closing up the window. We will be sealing it in. We'll make sure that it's from within their apartment. It's very appealing, the look. And from the outside, there will be no any rain or water or noise coming in from that window.
Okay. One of the neighboring buildings looks like it was fairly recently constructed. So you kind of wonder, why did DOB allow light line windows to be built in the first place? That shouldn't have happened. And do you know what's going on behind those windows? I mean, HPD may, or DOB may say they're not legal, but what's the practicality of what's behind those windows? Do you know?
Right. So by DOB terms, you cannot have an apartment with an illegal window.
Right.
It could either be a kitchen or a bathroom.
Okay.
And that's what we expect will be there.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions from commissioners? And thank you to the applicant team. And Ryan, over to you to check if there are others who have signed up to speak on this item.
There is one other speaker on this item.
Oh, yes. Okay. I will call on Joyce Kwan.
Commissioner, Joyce Kwan is a part of the HPD team, and she was like here with us just in case that she was needed to answer any questions, but I don't think she needs to intervene.
That's right. Thanks so much. Thank you, Ms. Kwan. And Ryan, anyone else who signed up during the pendency of the hearing?
No, there are no further speakers on this item.
Then this public meeting is closed. I'll note that we had 4 useful presentations, but I believe that this is the unusual occurrence in which we have not had any speakers outside of the applicants themselves who were presenting. Anything, Madam Secretary, any other business before us?
No, I will make one last announcement. For those of you who were unable to or did not wish to testify, you can submit written testimony online by selecting this hearing on the upcoming meetings page of the NYC Engage portal through the DCP's webpage, or by mailing your comment to City Planning Commission, Calendar Information Office, 120 Broadway, 31st floor, New York, New York, 10271.
And so with that, the public hearing is closed, and I will say goodbye to the commissioners and see you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Alan.